All right, welcome back. So in our previous sessions, we've really dug into how to spot and track down jamming signals. But today we're flipping the script. We're moving from just being detectives to being defenders. We're going to talk all about jamming countermeasures and how to actually fight back.
Now, before we get into the good stuff, we have our standard but very important disclaimer. This is part 13 of a big 20-part series, all based on a really thorough report from RFI detectives. And just a reminder, this is all for educational and interference mitigation purposes. As RF technicians, your job is to identify, find, and report illegal jamming. Using this equipment without authorization is a big no-no, and it comes with some pretty hefty penalties. Okay, let's get to it.
So, let's talk about this new challenge. Up to this point, we've basically been passive observers, right? We've been learning to read the signs, to see the fingerprints of deliberate interference. Well, now we're stepping into the ring. We're talking about active defense, how to make our systems tough enough to take a punch.
And the official name for this field? It's Electronic Countermeasures, or ECCM for short. Now, this whole discipline has its roots in military electronic warfare, and it's all about one thing: using every technical and procedural trick in the book to keep our communications up and running, even when someone is actively trying to shut them down.
And this quote right here, this really gets to the heart of it. It's a complete shift in mindset. See, the goal of ECAM isn't just to know you're being jammed. No way. The goal is to make the jammer totally and completely ineffective. It's about denying them their objective and making all their efforts a complete waste of time.
So how in the world do we actually do that? Well, let's crack open the toolkit. We're going to look at the main techniques that you, as an RF technician, really need to have a handle on. These are the fundamental tools we use to build resilience right into our wireless systems. Okay, first up, and this one is a real heavyweight. It's called Frequency Hopping Spread Spectrum, or FHSS. This technique is, without a doubt, a cornerstone of modern, tough-as-nails communication systems, and for a very, very good reason. So how does this magic work? Well, it's actually pretty clever. The transmitter and receiver agree on a secret hopping pattern, and they jump from one frequency to another, sometimes thousands of times every second. Think about it from the jammer's perspective. It forces them to play a game of whack-a-mole they can't possibly win. To have any effect, they'd have to jam the entire band at once, which takes a ton of power and, frankly, makes them light up like a Christmas tree for anyone trying to find them. But here's the thing. Having a powerful tool like FHSS is only half the battle. You know, having a fancy hammer doesn't make you a master carpenter, right? The real art, the real skill, is knowing exactly which tool to pull out of the bag for the specific threat you're facing. So that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? You're out in the field, your spectrum analyzer tells you what kind of jamming you're up against. Now what? How do you pick the right weapon for that particular fight? Well, it all comes down to understanding the jammer's game plan.
Think of this table as your central cheat sheet. It's your playbook. It directly connects the type of attack to the best way to defeat it. So, you see a simple spot jammer? Boom, FHSS is your go-to. But if you're dealing with something like barrage jamming, which blankets a wide area, the playbook points you to totally different tactics, like special antennas that can create nulls, or even using backup communication paths.
And let's look at a practical example of why this matters so much. Against a stationary spot jammer, just sitting on one frequency, a basic FHSS system works like a charm. You just hop away. But what if you're up against a swept jammer? Suddenly, it's a race. Your system's hop rate absolutely has to be faster than the jammer's sweep rate. If it's not, you lose. It's that simple. And all of this brings us to the most important takeaway for any RF technician working in these contested environments. Your job goes way beyond just finding and flagging a problem. It's about understanding and advising on proactive defense. Your strategy has to be proactive. Your number one mission is to keep the lines of communication open, period. And to do that, you have to shift from that passive mindset to one of active defense. That means you're always matching your countermeasure to the threat, and you're building a layered defense, so if one thing fails, another kicks in. That's how you get maximum resilience. And that leaves us with one final, pretty important question to think about. This is a constant cat-and-mouse game, and it never ever stops. So as jammers get smarter, as they become more adaptive, maybe even AI-driven, how are we going to evolve our defenses to make sure we always stay one step ahead?